Look around for a moment. You'll notice something instantly. Most men today suffer from the same condition, and I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. They're desperate to appear harmless. Pay attention and you'll see it. The way they soften their voice the second they think they sounded too firm. The way they bury their real thoughts under polite, safe, agreeable phrases. The way they chuckle at jokes they don't actually find funny just to avoid tension. They bend, fold, and smooth themselves out in every direction so no one ever sees them as threatening. Ask them why they do this, and they'll claim it's politeness, respect, consideration, but you and I know the truth. It's fear. Fear of conflict. Fear of being judged, fear of being rejected. Fear of being called too much, too serious, or too difficult. They've convinced themselves that disappearing into the crowd is noble. That making everyone else comfortable means success. That being liked by strangers is more valuable than being respected by those who matter, but then there's you. You don't beg for people to understand you. If someone misreads your intentions, you don't run after them trying to clean up their perception. You don't contort yourself into smaller shapes just to make others feel at ease. You walk differently. You talk differently. You hold yourself differently. And because of that, modern society has one label ready for you. Intimidating. You've heard it. Maybe not directly, but you've felt it. He's cold, he's too serious, something feels off about him. I can't figure him out. Tell me something. Did you harm these people? Did you threaten them? Did you earn the label of dangerous? No. Your only crime was refusing to shrink. Here's what Niccolo Machiavelli would ask if he were watching your life today. Not is this man friendly, not does he smile enough, but is this man easy to control? Because in a world ruled by manipulation, social pressure, and emotional guilt, the truly dangerous man isn't the loud one. He isn't the one who performs toughness. The dangerous man is the one who cannot be bent, bought, or bullied. That kind of man unsettles the weak. Think about it. Your steadiness makes people uneasy. Your refusal to justify yourself frustrates those who rely on extracting explanations. Your ability to detect manipulation doesn't make you popular. It makes you powerful, and let's be clear, this isn't about fake alpha behavior. I'm not teaching you how to puff your chest or act tough in front of strangers. That's insecurity wearing a mask. This is something darker, quieter, and far more real. It's the conviction in your eyes that makes people look away. It's the way you read people without announcing it. It's the scars that shaped the way you move. It's the silence you're comfortable with, the discomfort you willingly endure, the opinions you stopped caring about, and the mystery you guard like classified intel. These aren't trends. They're signals, deep signals, of who you've become. So today, we're breaking down 7 signs you carry a dangerous, intimidating presence seen through the cold, strategic mind of Machiavelli himself. And if you recognize yourself in these signs, understand one thing. You were never meant to live as a harmless decoration gathering dust. You were built to be the man people think twice about trying to influence before we begin. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose strength over comfort. Let's start. Number 1. Eyes of conviction. The first place a dangerous man reveals himself isn't in his words, it's in his eyes. And you know exactly what that means. Your eyes don't dart around searching for permission to exist or approval before you speak. You don't scan people's faces to check whether they approve of you. Your stare stays calm, firm, and unapologetically steady. When pressure rises, when tension enters the room, when someone tries to shake you, your eyes don't reveal fear. They don't jump around looking for escape. They show analysis. They show that you're thinking, assessing, planning your next move. Picture this. You walk into a room, maybe a meeting, maybe a social event, maybe just another workday. And when your eyes meet someone else's, they feel something. A kind of weight. Not anger, not hostility. Just presence. Now compare that to what most men display. Soft men have this pleading look in their eyes. Their gaze whispers, please don't get mad. Please don't judge me. Please still like me after this. Their eyes dart around, searching for reassurance, approval, signs that they're still acceptable and safe in the social hierarchy. But your eyes, they don't ask for anything. Machiavelli would judge a man by this one thing: do his eyes belong to someone who has already chosen his direction or someone still hoping for permission to take a step? A man who constantly looks for cues on how to act is a man molded for obedience. He waits for guidance. He waits for someone stronger to tell him what to think and how to react. But a man whose eyes say, "I already know my path," that man isn't easily controlled. Your eyes hold a quiet certainty. And because of that, something interesting happens. When you look at people, they feel evaluated, not insulted, not attacked, simply observed. They sense that you're not just looking at them, you're dissecting them, seeing beyond the mask they show the world, seeing the insecurity hiding behind confidence, the lies behind the smile, the weakness beneath the aggression. And that makes them uneasy. That's why they drop comments like, "Why are you so serious?" Or, "Man, relax, you look intense." What they really mean is, "Your eyes make me feel exposed. Please stop." Here's the truth about today's world. Most people's eyes are hollow, glued to screens for hours, scrolling through endless images, videos, notifications. Their gaze is scattered, unfocused, always chasing the next hit of dopamine. They don't really see anything anymore, but your eyes are alert, anchored, present. And in a world full of distracted minds, real focus feels frightening. People aren't used to being truly seen. They're used to being ignored, skimmed over, or flattered. But when someone actually looks into them, not past them, they feel something primal. Fight or submission, your conviction shows itself before you speak. People can sense that you're already solid in who you are and where you're going. They know you're not searching for approval. And that alone makes you a threat to people who depend on others staying doubtful and easily guided. In a world of hollow gazes, certainty becomes dangerous. Drop this in the comments. My gaze never wavers. Number 2. You read people deeper than their words. Here's something you've probably noticed about yourself. Most people only hear the words, but you track the patterns. When someone talks, you register not just what they say, but how they say it. You pick up on details almost everyone else misses, that tiny pause before a lie, that unnecessary over-explaining when someone's hiding something, that sudden shift in tone when the power dynamic changes, and you remember important things. You remember who only appears when they want something. You remember who vanishes the moment you need them. You remember who transforms their personality depending on who's watching, and this is what separates you from the rest. You don't always respond in the moment. That's the part people completely misread about you. You don't call someone out instantly. You don't explode. You don't force a confrontation right there. Instead, you quietly store the information. You observe, you file it away, and you let them finish their entire act. You allow them to reveal themselves fully. And afterward, without warning, without drama, you adjust your distance. Maybe you cut them off slowly. Maybe you stop sharing anything important. Maybe you keep them in your orbit but never let them close again. Machiavelli lived in a world built on betrayal, ambition, and hidden agendas. He understood that a leader's survival depends on one skill: how sharply he sees human nature. And whether you realize it or not, you're doing the same thing today. You analyze every interaction for loyalty, insecurity, greed, fear, or envy. You track people's motives even when they think they're not exposing anything, and no, this isn't paranoia. There's a massive difference between paranoia and awareness. Paranoid people imagine threats that don't exist. They create enemies in their minds. They think everyone is plotting against them, but you're simply perceptive. You notice the real dangers others miss because they're too trusting, too distracted, or too starved for validation. You read body language. You catch shifts in tone. You notice who someone becomes when they think no one important is paying attention. You see how they treat service workers. You hear how quickly they trash people who aren't in the room. You register how fast they switch allegiance when it benefits them. And here's what absolutely infuriates manipulators about you: their tactics fail. Think of every tool manipulators use: guilt, fake praise, charm, emotional pressure, victim playing. They throw all of it at you, and it's like trying to unlock a door with the wrong key. It simply doesn't work. You see their intentions clearly, and your expression tells them you see it. So, what do they do next? They accuse you of being too skeptical, too cold, too analytical. They say you're overthinking everything. But what they really mean is, I can't control you, and that scares me. Most people want their words accepted at face value. They expect automatic belief. They want you to trust whatever they say and ignore everything else. But you don't operate like that. You compare what people say with what they actually do. And when their behavior contradicts their words, you know exactly which one to believe. That makes you dangerous to anyone who depends on deception. Makes you dangerous to anyone who needs you to stay naive. Once you understand someone's game, they can't play you the same way again. And when people realize you see through them, they stop viewing you as harmless. Drop this affirmation: I see beyond words. Number 3. Your scars reshaped your presence. Here's the truth about your personality. Life carved this into you. Let me guess what you've endured. You've known real financial pressure, the kind that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. doing calculations in your head. The kind that makes you check your balance 3 times before buying basic necessities. You've been betrayed by people you trusted deeply. People you defended. People you believed would stand with you no matter what. And one day, you discovered they never truly were on your side. You've tasted humiliating failure. Moments that made you question everything. Times when you crashed so hard you weren't sure you'd rise again. And here's the hardest truth. There were chapters in your life where no one came to save you. No backup, no financial help, no emotional rescue, no friend stepping in. Just you, the chaos, and the decision. Collapse or harden. You chose to harden. Those experiences didn't just teach lessons. They rebuilt you. They rewired your nervous system. They changed how you judge threats. They transformed how you read people. You stopped expecting fairness. You stopped assuming good intentions from everyone. You stopped giving emotional access for free. Machiavelli understood what most people never grasp. The men who have been through storms are far more trustworthy than the ones who lived in comfort. Because a man who's never been tested is just a theory. You don't know his strength until pressure breaks him. And most do break, but a man forged by hardship. He's harder to shake, harder to fool, harder to move. That's you now. Even in silence, there's weight behind your presence. People feel it without understanding why. You don't react to petty drama because you faced real problems. Someone whining about their coffee or gossiping about nonsense doesn't move you. Someone melting down over trivial inconveniences doesn't pull you into their emotional chaos. Why? Because you've handled real consequences. You've survived real darkness. So when someone brings you small, manufactured drama, your reaction is simply, that's it. That's what you're upset about. And they feel it. They sense you're not impressed. They sense you've seen things they haven't. Your scars aren't visible, but they show in everything you do. In how you stay calm when plans collapse. In how you handle pressure. In how you refuse to fall apart when life hits hard. You know what rock bottom feels like, and that knowledge makes you unshakable. People who've never suffered don't understand you. They've been sheltered, rewarded for existing. Never pushed, never tested. So when they meet someone forged by real pain, they can't relate. They might call you closed off or too guarded, but they don't understand that your boundaries were built out of necessity. Your scars don't make you bitter. They make you immune. And immunity always looks threatening to the untested. Drop this affirmation. Pain forged my power. Number 4. You're comfortable with silence? Here's a challenge. Can you sit in complete silence for 5 minutes without reaching for a phone, music, or conversation? Most people can't. Soft men treat silence like it's dangerous. But you use silence like a blade. You don't talk just to fill space. You don't perform emotions to entertain the room. You can sit quietly without feeling the slightest insecurity. While everyone else scrambles to end the silence, you sit steady, calm, focused, unbothered. And then something interesting happens. When you stay quiet, people begin revealing themselves. They start explaining things you never questioned. They overshare details you never asked for. They laugh nervously. They overexplain simple things. They can't help themselves. People feel the intensity of your presence, not the loudness of your voice. Your silence pulls the air out of a room, creating a space most people rush to fill because they can't handle the weight of it. But you let the silence sit there heavy, unmoving, and you watch how people respond. That is real power. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. Strength often comes from what you conceal, not what you announce. A leader who talks endlessly reveals his strategies. He exposes his intentions. He gives away leverage. But a leader who observes more than he speaks, no one ever knows what he's truly planning. That makes him dangerous. You learned this instinctively. Your words gain force by being rare. People listen more closely precisely because you're not always speaking. And when you finally decide to say something, it hits different. It's not noise, it's signal, but here's how people misunderstand you. They complain, "Why are you so serious? Why don't you say something? Why are you so quiet?" What they're really saying is, "Your silence is revealing my insecurity, and I need you to talk so I don't feel it." Silence exposes people. It exposes their nervous habits. It exposes their craving for approval. It exposes how deeply they rely on noise to avoid facing their own thoughts. You don't have that issue. You're comfortable inside your own mind. You've sat alone with yourself, confronted your inner shadows, and survived the quiet. Silence doesn't intimidate you anymore. Most people are afraid of silence because silence forces self-reflection. You've already done that work. So now silence is a tool, sharp, intentional, strategic. When you can sit in silence without losing yourself, you no longer need noise to prove anything. And that unsettles anyone who does. Drop this affirmation. Silence reveals truth. Number 5. You choose discomfort instead of safety. Let me ask you honestly. When was the last time you took the harder route even though the easy one was right there? Most people will give up their health, dreams, or identity just to stay comfortable. But you're built differently. You're willing to surrender comfort to become someone who cannot be broken. You train even when your bed is calling. You work when every part of you wants to quit. You choose the challenges that scare you. You walk into difficulty on purpose while others chase convenience. You choose resistance. Why? Because you don't trust a life that's too easy. You know comfort comes with invisible costs, weakness, dependency, and slow decay. Every easy choice steals a piece of your strength. Every avoided challenge chips away at your edge. You've watched people let comfort destroy them. So you refuse to live that way. You get up at 5 a.m. when you could sleep until 8. You push through workouts that burn. You accept responsibilities that terrify you. You place yourself in environments where growth is forced, not optional. Machiavelli observed something crucial. The men who prepare in times of peace survive the chaos of war. You live like the storm could arrive any day. You're not waiting for life to demand strength, you're building it now. You train your body so it won't fail you under pressure. You discipline your mind so it stays clear when things collapse. You cut the habits that soften so you've committed to a different road entirely. You've chosen to live by your own principles, even when that decision costs you approval, even when it makes you the villain in someone else's narrative. You're not chasing universal likability. You're chasing the ability to look at yourself in the mirror with respect. And those two goals rarely coexist. When opinions stop controlling you, people stop controlling you. And that level of independence is always seen as a threat. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I stand firm alone. Number 7. You carry an aura of mystery. We live in a time where people expose everything. They broadcast every thought, every emotion, every minor inconvenience. Their whole inner world is uploaded for strangers to consume, but not you. You don't unload your whole biography on people you barely know. You don't document your emotions, fears, or future plans for public entertainment. You choose what to reveal with intention, not impulse. And in a world obsessed with exposure, the person who stays private immediately becomes intriguing and powerful. People today are addicted to attention. They feel invisible unless they're sharing something. They need witnesses to feel real. But you've learned that not everything needs an audience. Not every wound deserves a spotlight. Not every plan requires an announcement. You understand something most people never grasp. Mystery is leverage. Here's what people don't actually know about you. They don't know the full story of what broke you or the strength it took to rebuild. They don't know what you're quietly constructing behind closed doors. They don't know how far you'll go if someone crosses a line. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. Secrecy is a weapon. The less people know about your motives, your limits, your capabilities, the harder it becomes for them to predict you or manipulate you. Mystery isn't an act, it's simply refusing to hand over your internal map to people who haven't earned that level of access. When people can't get a read on you, they instinctively give you respect. They can't dismiss you because they don't fully understand you. They can't underestimate you because they don't know what you can do. Your opacity creates unease, and that unease becomes power. They start wondering, what's he really thinking? What does he actually want? What would he do if I pushed too far? And those questions make them cautious, very cautious. When someone can't identify your boundaries, they avoid crossing them. When they can't gauge your limits, they're far less willing to test them. You're not cultivating mystery as a tactic. You're simply private. Experience has taught you that oversharing weakens your position, that people will weaponize your vulnerabilities if you hand them out freely. So you keep your cards close. People see exactly what you choose to show, nothing more, nothing less. When someone can't label you, they stop seeing you as harmless and start seeing you as someone they must calculate around. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Mystery is my power. Now let's tie everything together. We've covered 7 markers: eyes that don't waver, a mind that reads people beyond their words, scars that hardened your presence, comfort with silence, choosing discomfort over safety, being unaffected by opinions, and a natural air of mystery. These 7 signals point to one truth: you're not easily bent, bought, or broken. In a world run by manipulation, pressure, and fear, that makes you a threat. But Machiavelli would remind you of something important: being dangerous isn't enough. A dangerous man without discipline is doomed. He destroys himself first, then everything around him. But a dangerous man with structure, with restraint, with purpose, that kind of man shifts the balance in every room. So if you saw yourself in these signs, then here's your instruction: stop apologizing for who you became. Stop letting softer people shame you for being difficult to influence. Refine your edge. Sharpen it. Aim it wisely. The world doesn't need more harmless men. It's overflowing with them, men who agree with everything, stand for nothing, and collapse under any pressure. What the world actually needs are men who can withstand chaos, see through deception, hold their ground in silence, and stay centered when everything around them falls apart. You were never meant to be universally comfortable. That was never the assignment. You were meant to be effective, resilient, a man who can't be easily bribed, steered, or intimidated. That's not a flaw, that's your advantage in a world full of people who crumble at the slightest force. And if you want to transform this intimidating presence into strategy, into real leverage, into actual control over your life, you already know the next move. Subscribe, stay here, keep watching, because the lessons that are coming are not for the fragile or the faint. They're for men ready to stop apologizing and start operating from strength. Drop this final affirmation in the comments: I am built unbreakable. See you in the next one.